On Tuesday night, a crowd gathered outside Selbridge Manor. That's where more than 100 people seeking asylum, children, women and men, live. And the crowd chanted, "Paedophiles out. Deport them now. Get them out." There were threats made to burn the building, where people live, to burn the building down. Why? Because of a disgusting lie spread on social media by far-right agitators. The lie was that a 7-year-old girl had been raped in the hotel by 3 non-Irish men. First shared by a supporter of the Irish Freedom Party online, and then amplified by far-right agitators Fergus Power and Derek Bly, and people were called to protest. It was a lie. These people do not care about the truth. They're happy to spread lies with the aim of deceiving people and the aim of whipping people up. 2 weeks ago, Dr. Umar Al-Qadri, the chair of the Irish Muslim Council, was lured into a housing estate and beaten up in a racist assault. This is what a rise in the far right is going to look like. More arson attacks, more racist violence, more danger in our communities. The vast majority of people reject this. People know that responsibility for the housing crisis, the health crisis, the deep inequality in our society lies with the government, not with vulnerable people. That majority is represented by those who came out of their homes in Tallaght to help Dr. Al-Qadri when he was attacked, by those who warned residents of Selbridge Manor arriving home from work about what was going on and helped them get back safely. That majority will be on display this Saturday when more than 130 organisations have come together to organise a solidarity march. At 1:30 p.m. at Parnell Square, thousands of people will stand together against racism, hate and war, for homes, health and rights for all, and to demand that the wealth is shared and inequality is ended. We live in one of the wealthiest countries in the world, but more than 4 in 10 parents have skipped meals so their children could have enough to eat. A country full of vacant and derelict properties, almost 60,000 long-term vacant, but where more than 4,000 children are in emergency accommodation. Properties that should be CPO'd by councils, as has finally now happened in Clondalkin. The far-right agitators are working very consciously to direct people's anger not at those at the top of our society, but against those at the bottom. I have confidence in people coming out on Saturday, making their views known, but I have a lot less confidence in the government. What is the state going to do to protect people? Why did it take so long, more than a day, for Gardaí to issue a statement debunking the dangerous lies being spread by the far right? When they're spreading lies about imaginary crimes, why is there not an immediate response to tell the truth to people?
First of all, I condemn without reservation the behaviour and activities of people at that location last week. And it's not the first time that malicious and false rumours have been spread about people seeking international protection. We've all heard those rumours, and they've been deliberately spread falsely and wrongly, and that stands to be condemned. The Gardaí are investigating aspects of that, I understand, in respect of false rumours, but also in terms of any attack on an individual. The Dr. Al-Qadri, that's shocking, condemned without reservation. And people came to help him, as you say, and I read that, and I think that illustrates that the vast majority of Irish people have no time for violence, for criminal behaviour, essentially. Let's not call it anything else. And that's why I don't feel it's correct or proper to just juxtapose, which you kind of did in your presentation, that with economic issues or political issues or issues around wealth distribution, which are fair enough issues any day in this House, but to kind of juxtapose that to the violence that you've correctly identified and condemned, I think I don't quite get that. I don't accept the juxtaposition either, because there are legitimate arguments to be had about the enterprise model we have in this country, with strong social protection in the country, with strong social interventions in this country. The state intervenes a lot in Ireland to protect people, either in housing or in health or in social protection. And we've intervened a lot in the last 2 years because of the cost of living increase. But our economic model, I suggest, is a better model than the one that you advocate. And I think people would be in a far worse condition, I respectfully put to you, Deputy, if they were to follow the economic model that you follow, which is anti-private enterprise, and you don't believe in private enterprise, and you don't believe in the whole concept of entrepreneurship and people developing the economy, which in our view has resulted in about 2.7 million people now at work, which is record high levels of employment in Ireland. 3/4 of the working age population now in employment, at an all-time high, unemployment at 4.2%. We added 90,000 jobs alone in the last year. And again, many of those jobs, I just was in the position to announce 100 of them yesterday with Infinius, companies that are high quality jobs that are being provided. And in the public service, there's been a dramatic exponential increase in employment across all of the services that the state provides. And we are focused on that from an economic perspective. But it's that balance between an enterprise model that has generated wealth in this country, that has enabled us to redistribute it, and particularly to protect the most vulnerable.
Deputy Murphy.
I don't doubt for a minute, Taoiseach, that you are utterly opposed to and that you condemn the arson attacks, the racist violence, the lies, the misinformation, and so on. I don't doubt that. But I do think the government bears a responsibility. Not the same responsibility, of course, as the far right. But for example, you have placed over 1,000 people who've come here seeking asylum in harm's way by putting them on the streets. That's a policy choice you have made. You created a two-tier asylum process, which legitimised some of the arguments suggesting that these people aren't legitimate asylum seekers. That's the one level in which you're responsible. The second is for the real issues that affect people. The housing crisis, which gets worse day on day, the inequality, the health crisis. Your government is responsible because of the economic system and those that you represent, the corporate landlords, the private developers, and so on. None of that, of course, justifies any racist violence. None of that is the fault of asylum seekers. But it is true that the far right try to tap into real, legitimate issues and then direct anger away from your government, away from those at the top of our society, and towards those at the bottom. And that's precisely why, on Saturday, we are marching to demand homes for all.
All right, thank you.
To demand health care for all, to demand a tackling of inequality, as well as rejecting the racism and hatred spread by the far right.
I think that's shocking stuff. Like, you condemn it, you condemn racism, you condemn appalling behaviour, but it's the government's fault, really. That's what you're saying, Deputy. You want thousands to say it's the government's fault. You are now exploiting reprehensible behaviour as a tool, and a political tool, to leverage that against the government parties. That's what you do with every issue, by the way. That is your modus operandi on every single issue that comes before society. That is how you operate, Deputy. I think it's reprehensible behaviour. The bottom line is this. Racists and people of the far right, they will look for any excuse to justify unacceptable behaviour. This is in my view, we need to be categoric, unequivocal, not mix it up or try and mix the messages.
So you take them off the street?
You just, no. What I'm saying is, let's not mix up messages here. There's only one message here. We condemn what you do. We condemn the racists. We condemn the undermining of human beings, the undermining of the dignity of every individual who comes into this country. And let's not try and queer the picture better or try and muddy the waters here, which you have tried to do. And what I would say to you is this, Deputy. Everybody knows we've had unprecedented situation with the war in Ukraine, that Russia visited upon Europe, first time since World War II. You've used that I disagree with, but Russia has done that. 100,000 people in, five-fold increase in people seeking asylum because of war and conflict all over the world. It's a huge pressure point all over Europe. It's not a policy choice, Deputy. Not a policy choice at all, as you've just got to throw out there.
Please,
it's not.
Over time.
It's a genuine attempt by a government to respond to unprecedented situation that we are facing in terms of the migratory situation across the globe.